we are very excited about joining the American Athletic Conference. This, we think, is a great opportunity and an important inflection point for Rice Athletics. Our three sort of key catchwords at Rice are excellence, opportunity, and impact, and we believe this move will enable us to achieve all three of those, particularly in the world of athletics. What we offer our students in terms of athletic opportunities is important to our students, both those who are athletes and more broadly. And I think this gives us an opportunity to compete with schools that will raise our ambitions and raise our standards and enable us to achieve new levels of excellence. We've gone to a number over the years, many conference championships of various kinds. During my time, we've gone to 6 bowl games, and we think this will provide us a greater level of those opportunities. I want to express my thanks to Mike Oresco, the conference commissioner, and the presidents of the AAC. We are, as I said, just very grateful to have this opportunity. I also want to take a moment to express our appreciation to Judy McLeod, the commissioner of the Conference USA. She's led the conference through a challenging time. We are grateful for that leadership. We're grateful to our fellow members in Conference USA. We look forward to completing our time there with those members. As you all know, this is a time of great change in the world of college athletics. But we think this is a great new home for us. We are thrilled to be rejoining Tulane and Tulsa and SMU, thrilled to be in the same conference as Navy, and thrilled to have our Texas compatriots there as well, and the broader conference footprint across Central and Southeastern United States. So as I said, we just think this is an outstanding move for us, coming at the right time. We look forward to just competing at a higher level and bringing our alumni and fans the experience that they look forward to. So thank you, and happy to answer questions or turn it over to Joe.
Okay, why don't we, if we have any questions for the president, because he's on a limited schedule, why don't we throw it open? Please raise your hand and we'll take some questions, and then we'll move on with the rest of the presser.
Sure.
Okay, Matt Musel. Go ahead, Matt.
I would just, can you hear me now? Yeah, I would just wanted to know the economic impact and how that will impact your university and athletic department. What a boost that will give it.
Well, I think if I'll let you elaborate on this. I think if you look at the economics of the AAC, they're certainly stronger than what we've been used to, and that'll provide more resources. I also think our alumni and fans are going to be very excited about this move, and that we're going to see both greater attendance as well as donations. Our alumni have been terrifically supportive. That's enabled us to build a great new facility. So we think this significantly will improve the economics of athletics at Rice. We look forward to making some additional investments in our programs and facilities. This is, as I said before, this is a real inflection point for us. It's going to create excitement and opportunity. And I have no doubt that our broader fan base, and as I said, alumni are going to be very excited about this move. And it also brings us back into some more, as I mentioned, traditional rivalries for us, and continues to give us a strong Texas presence and footprint. So it's basically all good news for us, but I think on the financial end, it is going to enable us to do more.
Thank you. Next question, we're going to go to David Barron.
David, based on your knowledge of the NCAA from your years on the board, do you see this as sort of an inevitable next step in the sort of perhaps winnowing down of Division 1A or the FBS schools to perhaps a smaller group as conferences sort of start to cluster up toward the higher end as opposed to the lower end of the 10 conference system?
Well, thanks for that. I think thanks for that question, David. You know, I'm not sure I want to be the chief predictor on those things. As I said before, and Joe knows far more about this than I do. We're in a major moment for intercollegiate athletics on multiple fronts. Certainly, conference realignment is one of those. Name, image, and likeness is a second. A third is certainly the fallout from the Supreme Court's decision, and a fourth is the sort of potential redefinition of related to that, the redefinition of the NCAA's role, as will be reflected in the sort of constitutional convention coming forward. So we're going to see very big changes, but it's clear this is a big shakeout in terms of the conference world. We're seeing very different thinking than we've seen before about the size of conferences, for example. We're seeing in both directions rethinking of the geography of conferences. And all I'll say is, you know, as we looked at this conference and how it's likely to be divided into divisions, we couldn't imagine, frankly, a much better home than we'll be getting in the AAC. And we think that home is going to have stability. Now, is anything guaranteed in this world? No, it's not. But we think this is going to work out very well as we enter into this complex world. And then the last thing I'll say about that, it's going to be very important that we bring not only our athletic ambitions to the table in this process, but that we bring our values to the table in this process. And we're very comfortable in the AAC, as we were in Conference USA, with the values of our fellow teams there. So we're, you know, excited and confident we'll be able to navigate this difficult future. But far be it from me to tell you exactly how this is going to shake out over the next few years.
Matthew Bartlett.
You mentioned additional investment from Rice. AAC Commissioner Michael Resco talked about the growth and the commitment to athletics being a deciding part of this process. Where does the university come in helping lead the charge going forward on that end for the athletics programs?
Well, I think there are different pieces of that. I think as we enter this transitional period, we're prepared to invest more in the athletic program success. As I said before, I think our alumni are going to read that commitment in a very strong way, and we expect them to, step forward. I think this is a move that reflects not only our strong commitment to athletics and our ambition in athletics, but also I think will reflect a little more stability in what our future looks like. And I think that's what our alumni have been really looking for, wanting to know with some certainty where we're going to be. And I think this is where they wanted us to be. And so that's a great move for us. So I think all these things come together in terms of the commitment. We've invested, by the way, we have significant investment already. If you look across our facilities, we know our stadium needs some investment, but virtually everywhere else we have invested in major facilities and renovation. So we're in really good shape. And on our stadium, we've also invested in the Patterson Sports Performance Center, and so we're in very good shape. But we need to invest some more, and we just look forward to making sure that our student athletes have what they need. And I do really want to emphasize that for us, this is about our student athletes. And you look at the quality of the folks that we recruit in every sport, what they add to our university, what they succeed in doing after they graduate, and they do graduate. This is an investment in their futures as well. We know that some of the very best students in the United States and indeed around the world are looking for the right set of opportunities during their college experience. And that includes both academic opportunities and athletic opportunities.
All right, with that, we're going to have to call it an end to President Leebron's availability. I appreciate your time, sir. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we will now have a brief opening statement from Joe Karlgaard and then a quick comment from each coach, and we'll return to questions. Joe?
Thanks, Chuck. So some of you may have been on the Americans presser earlier, but I'm just going to reiterate the statement that I made earlier today, which is today is just an unbelievable day for Rice athletics. Since the breakup of the Southwest Conference about 25 years ago, we've aspired to align ourselves with other institutions based on academic values, geography, and tradition. And the opportunity to join the American Athletic Conference checks all three boxes. We couldn't be more excited to join both the current and new members in competition and in collaboration. Our future is very bright. I'd like to thank a few people for their contributions to today's historic announcement. From Rice, our president, David Leebron, whose engagement in the process and commitment to supporting our aspirations helped make this possible. The chair of our board of trustees, Rob Ladd, who communicated his excitement for our future to the conference leadership and really to our entire board of trustees and our Rice University Athletics Advisory Committee, who were very helpful as well. Our staff, student athletes, and supporters who've worked every day to put us in a position to accept this invitation. And, you know, we don't shy away from who we are. We're the 17th ranked institution in the country, according to US News and World Report. We're a member of the Association of American Universities, the AAU, one of a small handful of institutions that are in that select group. Our endowment is one of the largest in all of college athletics. And we've won 25 conference championships over the course of the last 8 years across 12 different sports. So we think we bring a really great, well-rounded profile to the American Athletic Conference. From the AAC, I want to thank Commissioner Mike Oresco and his staff for their enthusiastic support of our candidacy and the great communication, as well as the board of directors from the AAC, and then all of the ADs from the current AAC, and then those who I am joined with here today. Just want to thank them all for their commitment to excellence. And I really look forward to working with them to build on the terrific reputation of the conference. So with that, I'll pause and answer any questions you have.
So let's go ahead and get a quick comment from three coaches, and then we'll open it up for the questions. First, Dunleavy family head football coach, Mike Bloomgren.
Yeah, thanks, Chuck. Very appreciative for the hard work put in to make today a reality by President Leebron, Dr. Joe Karlgaard, Rick Mello, and the board of trustees that Joe just mentioned. It's incredibly exciting for our current student athletes and our recruits. There have been a lot of recruits reaching out already this morning. Just wow, coach, this is awesome. This is so good. And we're incredibly excited. You know, joining the American Conference means going into one of the top 6 conferences for football in the nation. And there have been multiple years in recent history, including this one, where they're certainly not number 6. They're a lot better than that. So our excitement in our program is real, and we're very thankful for this opportunity.
Thanks, Mike. Next, we'll go to men's basketball coach, Scott Pera.
Yeah, I echo a lot of Mike's sentiments in the gratitude that I have and we all do in the basketball program here for the work that was done and the time put in, you know, with President Leebron and Rob Ladd and the board, and especially to Joe, because I know, you know, this is we all know how crazy the times are right now with how quickly things move. And I know he stayed on the pulse of this from the start and really moved quickly to get us in position. So, you know, we are just couldn't be more thrilled to join the American Athletic. It's a great day for the Rice Athletic Program. It's a great day for our program. And like Mike said, it affects a lot of things, you know, and obviously recruiting being the lifeblood of our programs, that's foremost one of them for sure. But everybody in our office is certainly pumped. I know our team's excited, and you know, we're certainly looking forward for the next 2 years in Conference USA, and then if that's what the time frame is, and looking forward to moving into the American here in short notice.
Thanks, Scott. And lastly, but no less leastly, the women's soccer coach, Brian Lee.
Thanks, Chuck. To echo everybody else, this is just a great day for Rice Soccer, for our department, for the university community as a whole. I'd like to thank Joe, President Leebron, and our entire athletic and university administration in working so hard to make this happen for our current and our future student athletes. The new membership in the AAC will provide soccer and all of our sports a platform for continued upward growth, continued national relevance possibilities. It's exciting to me that we're going with North Texas and San Antonio and to continue those geographic rivalries, but it's just as enticing to now be aligned with schools like SMU, Tulsa, Tulane, that we've got so much in common with off the field. Speaking for our women's sports, we feel like we're in a golden era of on-field performance, but membership in the AAC really solidifies that the best is yet to come for all of our sports programs, hopefully Rice Soccer as well, and our entire department. Lastly, I'd like to thank Conference USA. My experience with them over the last 2 or 3 years has just been first class, and we're excited to finish about finishing strong this last year or two in the league.
All right, Brian, thanks. We'll go to our questions now. Chris Gardner, you had your hand up first.
Thank you, Chuck. This is for Mr. Karlgaard. Is there a timetable set in stone of when you'll join the American?
Thanks for the question, Chris. Great question. There is not. I think given the nature of this, there are probably some moves upstream that have to happen that would determine exactly when we would join the conference. We're prepared to finish up strong in Conference USA, and we're excited about that opportunity to join the American at some point down the road. But it's not a date that's been firmly solidified at this point.
All right, next question, Matthew Bartlett.
This is for Joe. Joe, I know better positioning Rice from a conference affiliation standpoint is not a new idea. It's something you've been working for a long time. What was it like taking that long time tenured plan and then kind of having to execute on a couple weeks shorter notice?
Yeah, that's a great question, Matthew. I mean, I got to Rice in October of 2013, just on the backside of the last real round of realignment, where Conference USA had to reform itself. And one of the first things I did in the first 6 months or so was go introduce myself to the new commissioner of the American Athletic Conference. I remember quite clearly having lunch at the Capitol Grill in Providence, Rhode Island, at some point early in 2014, just to get to know him. And I think throughout this time, I've tried to build the right relationships. I've tried to listen very well to what it is that may better position us. And the opportunity hasn't always presented itself like it did the last several weeks. I will say it's been an intense time period. I've told other people that I was in Maui on a trip with my family celebrating my 20th wedding anniversary when I made the mistake of looking at my phone and seeing that Texas and Oklahoma were rumored to be departing the Big 12 for the SEC. And I had a sneaking suspicion that would cascade to other conferences, and it did. And so since that time, since I got back to the mainland and got re-engaged in the job, it's been a pretty much an all-out push at this point to figure out, not just with specific goals in mind, but just to figure out how to better position us. And that could have taken any number of forms, but I'm really happy that things played out the way they did.
And then there were, of course, rumors flying around like crazy since you mentioned OU in Texas of who was going where and when was going to happen. Rice's name really wasn't ever prominently featured in the mix. How did kind of flying under the radar, I guess there's an owl joke in there somewhere, how did that kind of benefit the Owls, and how did you kind of navigate that through that transition?
Yeah, that never bothered me as much as it may have bothered some other people, who saw reports in the media as a sign of our engagement or disengagement in this process. And I knew the truth. I knew what we were doing. I knew the conversations we were having. And so I was pretty comfortable. Rice just has so many assets to bring to the table. And, I think about, about how this plays out, how the stories play out. And, conference realignment has, at least the consensus and the thinking is that it largely plays out around football. And, I think Rice is so much more than that. We're a highly ranked institution that's well respected across the country. And we bring broad-based success. I mean, we're the top scoring Directors Cup school in Conference USA this past year. We've been ranked in the top 25 in 5 different sports over the last 5 years. We have won a conference championship in football. Now, it's been a while since we've been to a bowl game, but I know we're working hard to get back there. And so I think we really bring a great broad-based profile and upward trajectory to the American. I think we'll fit very well. I think we'll benefit from the partnerships that we'll have. And I'm excited about the growth here over the next 5 to 10 years.
Next question, we'll go to Matt Musial.
Hey, Joe, congratulations. I was asking President Leebron this question. He said, well, Joe would know more about this. I just wanted your overall comment on the economic impact that it will have on your programs, Joe.
I think it'll have a significant economic impact, and that'll take many different forms. I believe our distributions will be significantly better from the American than they have been ever. No matter what conference we've been affiliated with, the WAC, Conference USA, or the Southwest Conference. I think that the interest among our fans will increase. I think about, having the Mayor's Cup with SMU, which, we haven't played that game since the 2012 season. And, it'd be nice to renew that rivalry with an old Southwest Conference opponent. I think about the other privates that Brian Lee mentioned, Tulane and Tulsa, who are partners of ours in Conference USA. I would expect that the interest in our programs across all of our sports will increase. And that's going to mean more for us in terms of ticket sales and sponsorships. And I also think it'll mean more in fundraising. So I really, if you look at kind of our economic portfolio and all the different ways that we fund our enterprise, I think they're all going to get better. And I think it's going to lead to a significantly better experience and more stable experience for our student athletes.
Thank
Next to Joseph Duarte.
Hey, Joe.
Joseph.
Wanted to ask you, you have to, minimum 2 years, it looks like, before something will happen. But is there a to-do list for you to get ready? President Leebron mentioned, the football stadium, but are there things that sort of take precedence a little bit more to get you prepared for that move?
Yeah, Joseph, we have worked on just sketching out a list of things that we might do. I think that work will really take place in earnest over the next couple of months as we think about the economic and perceived economic impact that this move will have. And we've got I've always said at Rice University in our athletic program, and I think this holds true for the rest of the university, we have to be really efficient. We have to make sure that the dollars that we're investing in the program have a direct impact on the experience of our student athletes. And part of that experience is how successful they are competitively. We want all of our student athletes to have an opportunity to win championships. We want all of them to have the opportunity to major in whatever it is that they want to major in and graduate on time and put themselves in a position to go right into the workforce or right into graduate school and be successful the rest of their lives. And so I'm not going to get into specifics on that to-do list, but I do think that we'll flesh that out over the next couple of months. I will say, I guess I'll get into one specific, and that's that, we've talked about stadium renovations since I got here 8 years ago. We have done the Patterson Center, which I think has transformed the north side of our stadium. But we have some significant work to do, and we've got to put the pedal to the metal to make sure that we get that done in short order to deliver a great fan experience, when we get into the American Athletic Conference.
And Joe, did you say that meeting or that get together with Oresco, was that a specific trip for that purpose to meet him, or were you on any other business?
No, I was, I remember flying into Boston because I was meeting with some alumni and doing some fundraising and getting to know people. I'd only been on the job a handful of months. And I remember making the drive from Boston to Providence to meet with Mike. We spent a few hours together. I toured the offices up there and we had lunch. And so I've had that relationship with him over the course of the last 8 years and have gotten to know him and see him at Final Fours and college football national championships and conventions and things like that. So we've periodically stayed in touch, not necessarily about realignment, but just to check in on the state of college athletics and see how each other are doing.
Thank you.
Chris Gardner, you have a question?
Thanks, Chuck. This is for Coach Pera. Coach, about a few months ago, you mentioned that you thought more realignment was forthcoming. Did you envision this as a possibility for Rice?
I didn't know what was going on, behind the scenes. I just knew that something was going to happen with somebody. Fortunately, we're one of those somebodies because this is a really good day for us. So I know at that time, I just knew something was it wasn't going to sit still. I knew that. And I knew we were working hard, but I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes.
And the last thing, does joining the American change how you're going to recruit and who you recruit?
Look, we still have a kind of a blueprint of what we're looking for and what we're trying to do. And when we're looking at recruits, it'll certainly elevate our visibility in a lot of ways, I believe. And will that translate to different people? I'm not so sure. I mean, we still have a target area we'll be going after, and I don't think that'll change a whole lot.
Thanks very much, Coach.
All right. Daniel Schrager from the Thresher.
Yeah, for Dr. Karlgaard, you touched on this a little bit, but in terms of like the timeline of how this went down, was there a point in the past couple of days or past couple of weeks where like you realized like this was going to happen and that this move was going to be completed?
Yeah, I'd say, Daniel, I probably, it was probably 10 days to 2 weeks ago where I had a couple of conversations that led me to believe we were getting some traction. And then, every day or every other day, I'd get more information that led me to believe that we're getting a little bit more traction. And then it was over the weekend that I first heard that, hey, it's, we're likely to, to hear more definitive information on kind of where we stand. And that's the way it played out. And, I think the story broke first part of this week and, we had to get all the I's dotted and T's crossed before we could publicly talk about it. But, there were a number of coaches when they saw some of the reports walking around our offices with big smiles on their face. I see Brian Lee. I remember seeing him one morning and, he looked pretty giddy and I thought it may have something to do with this, but, for all I know, it might've been something else. But yeah, it's been like, I'd say over the course of, before the 10-day period that I referenced, it's probably been a really intensive 6 or 7 week process for us.
Thanks.
Any other questions for our group of guests? Joseph?
Yeah, Joe, this question is not a knock on CUSA, but I'm just curious, the exposure and their TV agreement and sort of how you'll be able to have, especially football, you'll have a lot of your games on certain platforms. How much will that do for the program in terms of visibility, moving forward?
We're very excited about this exposure potential of being a member of the American. I know there are, I think there are 40 linear TV windows in football throughout the season, and those are across the ESPN family of networks. And then ESPN Plus is going to be a great partner for us. We'll be producing all of our men's and women's basketball games that aren't on linear. We'll produce for ESPN. And then we'll produce many Olympic sports too. I think it's at least 55 from what I've seen. So we're excited about the exposure opportunities. I mean, I think, Joseph, one of the things that's interesting about Rice and maybe makes us a little bit different than some of the other institutions in the conference, maybe a little more like Tulane, maybe SMU and Tulsa, is that, you know, we truly do have a national and international footprint. We recruit students from all over the United States and the world. And oftentimes when they come here, you know, their parents and brothers and sisters and families can't see them play. And I think having a great, well-produced platform for those families to be able to watch them play is only going to help our recruiting. It's going to help our profile. We want to get the Rice name in every nook and cranny across this globe. And I think the exposure afforded to us by the American will help us do that.
Thank you.